Bonjour mes amis, hi guys. I wanted to highlight, praise and echo a great video released last week by Waco on Revolution on YouTube, who talked about the proper way to handle someone else's watch, your own watch, things to do, things not to do. And I think it's really important, especially now that many people are buying their first luxury watches, that everybody's talking watches, and that many people don't know how to handle them. It's the first time sometimes they handle a very nice watch. And there's a lot of wrongdoing that has to be righted. And I think many of the guys watching this video are very careful about their possessions, but hopefully other people will watch this and learn a thing or two. So what prompted Waco to do that video is that he went to an auction with a brand new Cartier watch, and the guy next to him wanted to see the watch, and his wife proceeded grabbing the watch and trying it on her wrist that already had a watch on, and banging the brand new watch on the crown, leaving a nice mark. And later on, another idiot grabbed his watch, asking if there was lume on it, and then turned on the lume on his iPhone and then swiped the iPhone all over the watch, leaving marks everywhere. It goes to show that even if you think you are in the presence of watch connoisseurs, maybe people who even gonna spend lots of money on watches, it doesn't mean they know how to handle them or care for their possessions or your possessions the way you do. And so as there are more and more watch guys meets and sex piles, or those pictures where all the watches are put together on a table, I am cringing more and more. And the last time I went to a watch guys meet, the rules were clear. You're careful with other people's watches, and you don't have to participate in anything that you don't want. And I think that is great. And most of the people there, I think, knew exactly how to handle a watch. If somebody hands you a watch carefully like this is how you should pick it up, and don't put it down on a table. It's one of the few things that Waco talked about. If you put it down, put it on a nice soft surface, not a rough table, and put it on the side, either like this or like this, preferably with the clasp closed, to make sure it doesn't fall back, because when it falls back down, bang, you've scratched the watch. This metal on metal, never good. I'm relaxed to do it with my Black Bay 58 because it's been worn. It's got a lot of scratches all over, but as you can see, those are honest scratches. There's no big ding on the watch. The main one on the case is this one. No idea how it happened, and we never know how they happen, but they happen over time, and it's fine. It's totally cool. That doesn't mean I mistreat the watch. There's no big gash on it. I don't try to damage it in any way. So a little wear and tear is fine. And actually, if you are about to purchase your first, say, Rolex, for example, I would advise you to do what I did, is to get a used model from the maybe 2000s. Not too valuable, but still collectible. For example, the Polar Explorer 2 16570. I got one that was totally unpolished, had the full lines of the case intact, but it was full of scratches. So it had been worn but not abused, and so I was relaxed to wear it and learn how to wear and handle a classic watch. And a few more scratches won't make any dent, quite literally. Now, other things that Waco talked about. People who wear rings, they tend not to care, not to remove them when handling your watch. Don't handle your watch to those people. If they want to put all sorts of scratches from their ring to the watch, that's their problem. Be careful. You know, when you go to those watch meets, or even if you meet the friend of a friend in a bar, it's tempting after a beer or two to just handle things around without thinking. But, you know, take a little breath and look around and see if the guy has a bunch of bracelets. I see people wearing watches next to their bracelets, so they're all completely damaged. I don't do that. You do whatever you want with your watch. Don't put your watch on your wrist if you have bracelets, if you have rings on. Another thing, I had a colleague, and Waco talked about it as well, who started buying watches, and he would come to my desk and asking to see my watch, and I would show him because he was showing me his, right? And I would handle his watch very carefully. The first thing he would do, taking my watch that was pristine and clean, he would blow his breath on it and then wipe it on his shirt, which, you know, usually wasn't very smooth type of shirt. It's not like this. It has the fabric has some grain, and immediately, maybe it's a brand new watch he's handling, it's gonna leave a lot of marks. Don't do that. Don't clean someone else's watch, okay? By the same token, don't handle a chronograph to someone who you know doesn't know anything about watches, because if they push the start button and then this one without stopping it, the reset button, they're gonna destroy your chronograph. Even more important, if you have a perpetual calendar with pushers, don't let them near your watches, or tell them clearly, do not push any of the pushers, do not change the time, do not pull the crown. Unfortunately, a lot of people, even watch guys, they want to get a feel for the watch. They like to touch it, to rub their hands everywhere. And I play tennis, I play guitars. My calluses can be a bit rough at times, depending on the day. And just rubbing your fingers is gonna leave marks. I mean, we don't have baby skins anymore, so just don't do it. Don't scratch it. Don't feel the watch. That just annoys me. Don't play with the crown. Just look at the watch, yeah. And you have questions. You want to know how it works. Well, handle it back to the owner and let them demonstrate for you. Speaking of not knowing how to handle a watch, for example, my wife, she wanted to have a Rolex or two. After a couple of years, she still doesn't know how to set the time or the date. And in a way, I prefer if she asks me to do it, but I still have to wind her watch, set the time and date. So that's the thing. These are mechanical things, and people see them. Most people see them. Yeah, the majority, I would say, of people see them as a bracelet, as a good-looking thing, but they have no idea of the inner workings, how to operate them properly. And even watch guys, actually, who have more money than sense, don't even know the basic functions of their watches. And you'd be surprised, even if very expensive pieces end up in the hands of people who don't even know. I think we've seen that on the channel recently. Don't even know what a flyback function is, for example. So be aware that you're going to meet more and more at watch functions, watch meets, and at the bar and everywhere, people who have an interest in the beauty of the watches, but no understanding on how to use the pushers. And because they got a bit more relaxed, they got one watch or two, maybe they feel that they have this license now to turn the crown and push the pushers. These are mechanical things like a car, and you don't drive a car without a license. There's no license, unfortunately, to handle watches, but when you see the work and the cost of these things, which can exceed easily a car, they should come almost with a license. And you don't have your license, then you don't have the permission from me to handle my chronograph. The one I have here is one I would never take to a watch meet. It's a pristine museum from Omega, and I treat it like a museum piece because it's my favorite watch. I handle it the way I want to handle it. It had a knock on a sink in the lavatory, but yeah, it's barely visible, and it didn't make me really happy. I don't mind putting scratches in the watches, especially the steel watches. The gold ones, it's very soft metal. And this one I want to baby. I don't need people to see it. I don't need to show it off to anyone. And I don't bring this out where I know people might not be careful with it. Likewise, it doesn't have to be an expensive watch, but it can be collectible. I picked up 3 of these Tudor Prince Date Day recently because they've been discontinued, and I think they will keep value. They're good-looking watches, doesn't cost a lot, but you have a cool complication. They're a bit unique, and you can't replace them. And I don't want to have to polish a mistake by someone. This one is like new, full set, and I wear it. Not a problem if it has a little scratch or two, but I wear it carefully, like always when I wear my watches. I don't want, even if it's not a high value item, to handle a burgeoning collectible to someone who doesn't know how to take care of it and who might think, oh, it's just a Tudor, I can do whatever I want with this watch. Same thing, also collectible, brand new James Bond watch. It's going to be very popular. Lots of guys see Omega as the entry level to luxury in many ways, and will want to see this watch. A lot of nice polishing. I don't want it marred by someone who wants to put it against his own watch at all cost. So there you go. I hope you get the general message on how to handle your watches, other people's watches, the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do, but most importantly, you want to preserve your pieces. Be careful everywhere you go, who you meet, and tell them exactly what you allow them to do if they ask to see your possession, and what you don't allow them to do. Think of them as your children. You wouldn't want someone to grab your child and start throwing your kid into the air. That's the way I see it for my watches. And I'm sure somebody in the comment will say, hey, those are just things, I'm gonna do whatever I want with them, I don't mind if I have scratches. Good for you, buddy. No problem. You treat your things the way you want to treat them, but these are expensive items. Not everyone feels the way you do about your watch, so don't handle other people's watches the way you handle your own. Well, there you go. I hope to hear your echoes in the comments. Let me know of other situations that have made you cringe. Do you dare telling people what not to do with your watch if they decided to take it in their own hands? Let me know in the comments. Bye bye, guys.